we really haven't had any negative things to talk about. I'm sure I know they're out there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I mean, to continue that, it's encouraging that we're seeing all of these projects kind of going in, throughout the country.
Really want to emphasize that although the federal government is kind of sleeping on the truck parking and safety improvement plan, states, DOTs, not all, but some are getting it done.
Got here, joined by the aforementioned Tyson Fisher. Tyson, good to see you.
Great being here.
Let's start on the state level because we have seen over the past, several weeks or so, 3 states, I think, put out surveys hoping to get a better understanding of the truck parking situation in those respective states. They say, I guess, the first step towards finding a solution is to accept the fact that there's a problem.
Sure.
These states are doing that. We're talking New Jersey, New York, and Nevada, all hopefully taking this feedback and taking action.
Yeah, so these 3 states currently have a truck parking survey out in the open. They want basically feedback from truckers. We've talked about this many times over the years about these truck parking surveys. These aren't that any different. The only thing that's different are the areas which are the focus of the survey. But, I mean, the bottom line is, yes, you pointed out, it's true for any problem you're trying to solve, which is the more data you have, the better you're going to be able to tackle that problem. So I highly encourage every trucker to take these surveys because the more data they have, then the more accurate, the representation of that data will be. So if you have like a few hundred truckers do it, it might be skewed a certain way. A few thousand truckers, you're getting closer to what's actually happening out there in the real world. So yeah, with that said, New Jersey has a survey just about truck parking in general in the state. It's a 2 different surveys. One for short haul drivers, it's basically drayage and delivery drivers. But for most of the people listening right now, there is a long haul version too. That's going to focus primarily on overnight parking in the state. So if you have issues, or even if you don't have issues overnight parking, if you park overnight in New Jersey, take the survey. You only have a few days left on this one. This one is done June 16th, so you can go to landline.media, just search for truck parking. You'll find the survey there. The New York State DOT also has a survey out. Now, this one is specific to Interstate 84 in a specific section of Interstate 84. Now, if I remember right, and I'm sure some truckers are going to be yelling at me because I got this wrong, but Interstate 84 is kind of a small section of New York. It's on the southern end of it, so it's not that long, relatively speaking. So with that said, it is still a portion of Interstate 84 in New York. So if you do regularly park along I-84 in New York, take that survey. That survey ends June 28th. And then in Nevada, this one's a little different. So the Nevada survey, it says that it's a survey for its truck parking availability system. So those are those digital road signs that says how many truck parking spaces are available at the upcoming rest areas. Yeah. So they want some feedback on that because I think they plan on building more. That's probably part of the I-10 corridor coalition that's going on. I think it was, that's incorrect. I'm going to say scratch that because I would not go there. But it is like that though, because the I-10 corridor has these signs. Nevada is looking to do the same thing. So they kind of want trucker feedback on how they prefer those signs to look like. But they also ask general questions about truck parking. So it kind of expands a little further than just those digital signs. So again, if you park in Nevada, take the survey, really help that state DOT kind of hone in on where the problem is and then therefore fix that problem.
Yeah, they want feedback because they want to do something about this. And if they, to underline your point earlier, if they don't have that feedback, they're not going to know
what can you do?
Where the need is. So shouldn't take very long,
it's a few
to answer
minutes.
these questions.
Yeah.
If you do business in these states and work there, definitely give that feedback when and where you can, and we'll see where it goes. On a national level, and I'm curious to see what we find out from this, but the Jason's Law Truck Parking Survey now open. The last one we had was, 2020, I believe.
2020, correct.
So I will be curious to see how this one, pans out. But what should we know here, Tyson?
So it's not open yet. So what happened was the Federal Highway Administration, they published a notice of request for information in the Federal Register. Basically what this is they're letting people know that they're going to start conducting the study. How should we go about doing that? So they basically said, this is how we're going to do it. Is that cool? Basically,
Sure, yeah.
it's just a good way to do it.
It's the process, a regulatory process.
It's just a regulatory process before we get there. So it's just seeking comments on that, and if you can go in there and comment and say, I think this study is a waste of time, whatever. Just it is a comment on the process of that. Now, that being said, that does signal to us that the third version of Jason's law survey is coming up. And then, to that, what you're saying is like what to look for on that. I'm going to be honest with you. I have low expectations, and it's not being critical. It's just being. So the very first survey was released in 2015. That was nearly 200 pages, and it was a wealth of data. A very comprehensive report on truck parking across the nation. The second version was 2015, or I'm sorry, 2020. So 5 years later.
Not 200 pages.
30-page PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
The first many pages, just kind of an overview. It didn't. Basically, all it said was, it still sucks out there, without getting into the details. Yeah. And so I'm really hoping that FHWA or the Federal Highway Administration did get some backlash for that presentation. So hopefully they learn from that and we get something closer to that first version that we got. But either way, the information will be valuable in some form or another because it will inform state DOTs on how to proceed. And so again, when that survey is released or when it's available for comments, I again take the survey, really get that data out there.
Yeah, and we'll see. There has been, I feel like, a bigger commitment in recent years to addressing the problem, and maybe that will be reflected in the next survey that comes out. But time will tell on that one. Let's turn to Indiana now and kind of run through some other issues that are taking place in other places here. Indiana officials really devoting some time and money toward more truck parking spaces at rest areas there. And the wheels on this one are already in motion, right? Yeah.
So Indiana, man, this is a state that's doing it, man. Like
they're doing it.
They are
doing it.
They are addressing truck parking in a pretty impactful way. So less than 2 years ago, the state announced a 10-year, $600 million plan to restore rest areas and welcome centers. That includes adding more than 1,200 truck parking spots, which is nearly double for what the state already had at the time. There's 7 total parking projects. One that's already been completed on I-65. Another one will be finished this fall. That one will be on I-65 mile marker 148. And there's 3 more projects next in line. So it's the Liston, Taylorsville, and Nancy Hakes rest area. We can expect those to be done within the next year or two. Mm-hmm. So just kind of an update on what Indiana is doing, really, addressing the issue. And as you said, they're getting it done.
Getting it done, and they'll continue getting it done, it looks like, for the next, year or two and on down the line here. Because as you said, this is a 10-year, $600 million plan there that they're putting into place. Let's move quickly to Texas. Speaking of rest areas, there are a couple, I think, new ones there in West Texas, right?
Yeah, so 2 new rest areas on Interstate 10. This is just east of Van Horn, around the 145 mile marker. 116 truck parking spaces, 58 on each side. So it's one of the biggest rest areas in the state. So they're really kind of pumping up the truck parking in recent years. Pretty nice rest area. Climate control restrooms, Wi-Fi, surveillance camera. So a nice, safe place to park. And kind of keeping with the Lone Star states, so there is so the Amarillo district has their rural transportation improvement plan for 2025 through 2028. They're kind of mapping that out right now, and I was taking a look at it. They do have 4 truck parking projects in just that district alone. 2 $17 million projects and 2 $20 million projects. Basically, we're looking at more parking on US 54, US 87, and Interstate 40. So yeah, Texas, another state that's kind of looks like they're past that survey data collection phase, and they're actually pouring concrete now. So that's excellent.
Also getting it done
Yes.
in Texas there. Pennsylvania, also getting it done?
Pennsylvania, so the Silent Hill Rest Area, that's mile marker 172 on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Basically, it's undergoing a multi-million-dollar restoration, including truck parking. So the westbound side will go from 31 parking spaces to 68. Eastbound side from 31 parking spaces to 56. So yeah, basically between the two, truck parking will double on the turnpike. And I know that the Pennsylvania Turnpike is one of the areas that really needs it. So that's really good to see that they're addressing the issue there.
Yeah. And, I was just thinking here as I was looking at kind of our list of things that we're talking about, and we really haven't had any negative things to talk about. I'm sure I know they're out there. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But I mean, to continue that, it's encouraging that we're seeing all of these projects kind of going in, throughout the country.
Really want to emphasize that although the federal government is kind of sleeping on the truck parking and safety improvement plan, states, DOTs, not all, but some are getting it done. So yeah, absolutely.
Nevada's one of them here, right?
Nevada is
I-80?
one. Yeah. So Nevada, they have a bigger I-80 widening project. So this is a big project to increase from 4 to 6 lanes. But within the widening project is also a plan to add 25 to 50 more truck parking spaces. Again, the idea here is the reason why they are widening the highways because increased traffic, meaning increased freight traffic, which means increased truck parking demand. They're seeing the bigger picture here. So it's great to see that Nevada kind of looking beyond the obvious and really honing in on the needs for the trucking and freight industries.
Yeah, because how many times have we seen projects like this that don't take truck parking into account?
Right.
We see it all the time.
Oh, sure.
But again, NDOT there in Nevada is keeping that in mind for sure. Real quick here, we've got a couple more we can run through here before we run out of time, Tyson. Empire State Development is announcing the opening of a new travel center. I believe this is in Niagara County, right?
That is correct. Okay. So, yeah, New York, another problem state when it comes to truck parking. Just opened a new travel center about a month ago. Interstate 190, exit 23. This one, the press release at least, says it was designed to attract truck drivers specifically. Basically, they noticed congestion at the border crossing bridges, and so to kind of alleviate some of that congestion, provide another fueling option for truck drivers. It didn't say how many parking spaces. It just says ample parking. So I trust that to be true.
Ample parking.
Ample
That's
is.
Subjective, I guess. But hey, I'm sure they're doing right by everybody there.
Right.
And just again to underscore what we talked about, I think to start this off.
Yeah.
With these surveys and these studies that we keep seeing over and over again, Minnesota and Georgia are two great examples of why these studies matter, why these surveys matter, because they are putting some of what they learned into effect with regard to truck parking, right? We're seeing Minnesota putting a bunch of money toward the problem, Georgia doing the same thing. So again, with these surveys that you continue to report on, provide feedback.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
and where you can, and it could make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. This it will lead eventually to more truck parking. That's the bottom line.
There you go, Tyson. We appreciate it as always.
It's always great being here.